What's going on, we gamers? Today we're going to be delving into some Dragons Dogma 2. The game has finally released and honestly I'm having an absolute blast of it. Getting to grips with everything, making my way through the early game and just having a lot of fun finding everything I can and exploring. But there's a few things I've found out that can really help you out as a beginner, and one of the things is definitely going to be with your pawns. Now right near the start you're going to go through your kind of opening scenes, you're going to create your character, but very early on, like a few minutes into the game, you're going to be met by this character just here in your first kind of small area or town. You're then going to learn about pawns, how they affect you and just how good they are. Without these you're going to be in a bit of trouble, especially with your early game, because having extra pawns on your side is absolutely no hindrance. And in fact, the enemies don't seem to scout any differently whether you be on your own or whether you have a complete full squad. So not having them would actually be a little bit detrimental. First thing you're going to do, you're going to enter straight into the little village and you're going to be met by this right here. It's called the Riftstone. This is where you'll be able to grab yourself your first pawn. Now there were a few things that you could do here, but overall I found the first pawn I wanted to make was going to be someone a little bit sturdy, and I ended up with a character just like this, a big old lion dude, very tanky, made him into a fighter. But overall I found that he probably wasn't the best for bringing benefits to my team. He wasn't bad in any way, but he was, I found, was very much just going to be the hack and slash variety. So I went straight back into the Riftstone and saw if there was anything else I could do. And to my surprise, you can grab pretty much a full squad straight away, and I would highly advise doing this. The one character that I would say is definitely worth picking up, this pawn right here, is going to be King. He's going to be one of Capcom's unique pawns, and I feel that he really rounds your team out, no matter what kind of a squad or what character you use on yourself. In fact, even if I was a mage, I think I'd still pick this guy because he really is great for a starter pawn. He's got some really nice offensive skills in flagration and Levin, but he's also able to buff you very nicely with that fire boon, allowing you to dish out a lot of extra damage to foes, whereas at the start otherwise you can sometimes feel a little bit weak. Now after I'd summoned King and grabbed him over to my squad at the really nice cost of 0 Rift coins, I then went on to round my squad out with Merowyn, who's a really nice archer. I found having a balanced squad like this worked absolutely ideal, and I'd highly advise it at the start for anyone who's a little bit like myself, maybe a little bit fresher to the game. For example, if you haven't played Dragons Dogma 1. With all of these at my side, the early game was absolutely amazing and I managed to pretty much breeze through all of the enemies. Like I said, the great thing about having King on your side, because he's able to augment us very often, allowing us to dish out so much easy damage and tackle those foes without too many worries. But also he acts as a healer, so if you want to dish out some commands like the ones down the bottom left here, whenever you press help he's going to come over and he's going to heal you if you find your health going low or you're getting into some kind of trouble. This is absolutely ideal, works perfect in combat, but it's also great if you're outside of combat. So if you've taken a bit of a pasting and you need to heal up, this guy's the one for you. Another thing that completely rounds him out though is the fact he'll often say to you he knows this area well and that he can guide you over to some treasure or some treasure chests in general. I did not have a clue how this worked, but after a while I realised that sometimes he'd actually just spot them himself and guide you over to them. If not, again you can use your commands, you can press go and he'll usually venture off around the areas in order to find you some tasty goodies. This guy knows the areas at the start very well, and I found myself roaming around getting a lot of extra items, a bit of extra money, some nice resources and some things that can upgrade your gear a little bit later on, and overall he was just very integral to my party for the early stages of the game, acting as a healer, a buffer and, as you can see here, also as a guide. So make sure you speak to him, click on this option here, make him your guide, and you're going to be pretty much set to go for the very first few hours of the game. But yeah, no doubt there'll be some absolutely amazing pawns that you can recruit and grab later on in the game, but I found having this mage absolutely worked ideal very early on and just made my life a whole bunch easier, especially where I hadn't played Dragons Dogma 1. But yeah, let me know in the comments which class are you going to be playing as, or which class have you chosen. As always, there'll be a lot more hints, tips, guides and content from me, but for now, take care, I'll see you next day.